Q&A time. Dokken or Lynch Mob? This is a question from Cars and Cool Stuff 13, and I thought it was an interesting question, being that we got George Lynch in both bands, and I've got more of these coming. You guys are really, it's cool. It makes me feel good. You guys want to know my opinion, but I'm gonna flip it on you because I want to know your opinion too. So it's kind of a tough one, you know. If you're my age or near my age, you grew up as a guitar player really into Dokken because you heard this amazing guitar player, George Lynch. So it kind of hits home, you know, like that golden era for us 80s metalheads. So, you know, great songs. I actually really liked, I really like Don Dokken's voice as well. So I feel like there was some really good songs. A lot of my playing was shaped by playing Dokken songs. So, you know, several years later, I should have looked it up, but several years later, out comes Lynch Mob. And didn't know what to expect, you know, when I'd heard about it. Till I heard Wicked Sensation. That was the first song that I heard. And was floored. You know, this is right around the time I think I heard Badlands as well. Within a year or two. And big fan of Badlands too. And I was curious how that was going to be, you know. Another guitar player, 𝐒𝐄𝐒, influencing me in my early days of playing guitar. But I ended up loving that too because I loved Ray Gillen's vocals. Kind of similar situation with Lynch Mob because George Lynch definitely didn't go backwards. You know, he kind of modernized more. His tone was great. The production was great. Didn't have the big reverb on the snare. But you know, that was characteristic of the style, you know, for 1984 and 85, man, was big reverb, not just with Dokken, you know, Def Leppard and just everyone, Scorpions. So, I'm still not sure what my answer is going to be on which one I like more, but I will say George Lynch just kept excelling, and still to this day I don't feel like George Lynch is, you know, a lot of guitar players hit their ruts, and I'm sure if you would ask George Lynch he would tell you he does too, but for us as listeners and players, and me being a music teacher, and it's what I do, you know, I can honestly tell you George Lynch hasn't lost it at all, man. He has progressed, and he was amazing back in the day. Now what's very cool about Lynch, I think, was he was a stylistic player, and I also consider George Lynch an innovative player. If you listen to his style and the way he played, you know, only a few people even kind of had that kind of same sound. Eddie Van Halen, which was one of Lynch's influences, but running neck and neck would be Warren DeMartini. They had that same vibrato, you know. And there's another player, 𝐂𝐒𝐄, who had that vibrato probably before them. 𝐂𝐒𝐄's a monster player. So I forget the singer's name now. I know Lynch Mob had a few different albums, and all the singers were good, but my favorite singer was the singer that was on the first album that had Wicked Sensation on it. Just loved it. I liked that gritty kind of powerhouse, you know, Ray Gillen's sounding vocals. So Don Dokken and that singer are two different singers. They're both melodic. The Lynch Mob dude had this, I'd say he definitely had a more powerful voice, and the melody and that grit. But you know, Don Dokken had a good range, and he came up with really good melodies too. So I'm gonna have to go with Dokken, just maybe by 1 point, and I almost just want to say it's a tie across the board. But the only reason I'm going to go with Dokken is because it shaped me as a guitar player in my infant years of playing. My first year was being influenced by George Lynch. So, you know, it's like you think back, no matter what age you are, even if you're not a musician, you kind of jump to your high school years of music, and you remember that, and it holds kind of like that dear spot in your heart. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of the only reason I'm going to say that. But geez, Lynch Mob is just awesome. Everything Lynch does is great. You know, he's ventured off and did some stuff with 𝐿𝐿, a friend of mine, 𝐿𝐿, and it's actually a really good album. If you haven't heard it, it's called 𝐿𝐿 and Lynch. Good stuff, good music. So that's it. Now I'm gonna flip this. I want to know what you guys think. I'm actually really curious because for you guys that are my age, I don't know what you're gonna go with, Dokken or Lynch Mob. Just leave it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe because you'll probably see the subscribe link here. Sign in and definitely subscribe. A very active channel outside of the lessons. Obviously, I'm doing these Q&As. I've got artist interviews and song reviews and stuff, so it really revolves around all things music. Check out my paid services. There's 3 of them that I offer to sharpen up your chops in more depth than just the YouTube lessons. If you're a subscriber, by all means, you can make requests and tell me, you know, Twisted Sister or Quiet Riot. Hey, that might be a good one. And I don't know if anyone's asked about that. I got lots of them, but I just kind of, there's no method to my madness. It just depends on my mood for that day. I'm like, okay, I was listening to Lynch earlier, and then I remembered this comment, so I looked up the guy's name. And add me on social media as well. Okay, you'll see that stuff in the edits. And until next time, keep rocking with Dokken and Lynch Mob, and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. We'll see you guys real soon.